Hello, teacher. Now I will start explaining and presenting my presentation for you. By the way, today it's a topic about how do sports injuries affect athletes, both mentally and physically. To start, sport injuries are often viewed as pure physical problems, but however, research shows that injuries can have significant psychological effects as well. And in this presentation, we will explore a bit how injuries impact athletes' bodies and minds, by the way, and why emotional support and rehabilitation are essential for a successful recovery. To begin with, let's look at the broader impact of sports injuries. Athletes at every level, from recreational players to professionals, can experience injuries that disrupt their lives. And while much of the attention is usually focused on healing and the physical injury, the emotional consequences can be just as serious. And many injured athletes experience stress, anxiety, frustration, and loss of confidence. And because of this, recovery should involve not only physical rehabilitation but also psychological support to help athletes return to their sport and daily life successfully. And sports injuries can have several physical consequences. And the common effects include pain, weakness, reduced mobility, and limitations in daily activities. And athletes may be unable to participate in games, practice, or competitions for extended periods. And injuries can affect bones, joints, muscles, tendons, and ligaments, like fractures, ACL tears, muscle strains, or sprains and dislocations, for example. And severe injuries may require months or even years for rehabilitation before an athlete can return to their previous level of performance. So, yeah, it can take a long time for coming back to doing your sport. And recovery from a sport injury typically occurs in several stages. And the first one focuses on rest and treatment to reduce pain and inflammation. The next one comes from physical therapy, where athletes work to restore mobility and function. After that, strength and endurance training help rebuild muscle and cardiovascular fitness. And finally, the last stage is at ways where athletes gradually return to competition through sport-specific exercises and drills. And it's very important to remember that recovery timelines vary depending on the severity of the injury. Some athletes recover in weeks, while others may need like a year or more. For me, for example, I had a elbow injury that kept me off court like for almost 1 month, maybe. So yeah, that's why. And many sport injuries affect much more than the body. A lot of athletes strongly identify with their sport, so an injury can disrupt their sense of identity and daily routine. And maybe this often leads to frustration, disappointment, and feelings of isolation. Many research shows that injury athletes commonly experience higher levels of stress, anxiety, and even depression during recovery. And many also fear losing their physical abilities or falling behind their competitors, creating additional emotional challenges. So, yeah, it can be very dangerous, but yeah. Stress and anxiety are among the most common psychological responses to injury. Studies suggest that the emotional burden of an injury can sometimes feel as difficult as the physical pain itself, and many athletes often experience an emotional journey that begins with shock and disappointment. Peaks during the early stages of rehabilitation and gradually improves as recovery progresses. And because of this, mental health and support should be considered an important part of the rehabilitation process. Returning to competition presents its own set of challenges. One of the biggest barriers is the fear of re injury. athletes may hesitate during movements because they worry about getting hurt again. And many also struggle with self doubt, wondering whether they can regain their previous level of performance. And many research suggests that mental health and physical recovery are closely connected. Poor mental health can slow recovery, while physical injuries can increase emotional distress. And this is why this creates a cycle that must be addressed for a successful return to the sport. Now I will bring a real life example of these challenges that can be seen in the NFL player Nick Bosa. He suffered multiple ACL injuries and he openly discussed the mental struggles that were with him while he were recovering from the injuries. And he explained that while the physical rehabilitation was difficult, the mental aspect was even harder, by the way. And he described dealing with thoughts about retirement and uncertainty about his future. And his experience highlights the importance of addressing both physical and psychological recovery after serious injuries. And support systems play a crucial role in helping athletes recover. Coaches, teammates, family members, and healthcare professionals all contribute to an athlete's motivation and well being during rehabilitation. And many research shows that combining physical rehabilitation with psychological support, it can improve both mental and physical outcomes. And a strong support networks helps athletes stay focused on long-term goals and reduces feeling of isolation during recovery. And there are several effect dealing strategies that can help athletes manage the stress of injury. One of them is counseling and therapy provides professional guidance for dealing with emotional challenges. Mindfulness and meditation can reduce anxiety and improve mental focus. Stress management techniques such as relaxation exercises and controlled breathing can also be very beneficial to the athlete. And not least, as last not least, setting small or achievable goals that help the athlete stay motivated throughout the recovery process. While support from family, coaches, and teammates strengthens emotional resilience. And in conclusion, as I've said before, sports injuries affect both physically and mentally the athletes, and the recovery involves much more than healing damaged tissues. And it also requires rebuilding confidence, managing anxiety, and developing psychological resilience. And the most effective recovery program combine physical rehabilitation with emotional support from healthcare professionals or coaches or maybe teammates and even family members. And by addressing both the body and mind, athletes are more likely to achieve a successful and lasting return to competition. And by the way, these are the sources that I use to support the research presented today, including studies from PubMed Central, Science Direct, and reporting on Nick Bosa's recovery experience. And I hope you teacher enjoyed. And like I gave much effort to do this presentation. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, and that's it. Bye bye.